The Hawaiian island of Maui, known for its lush landscapes, pristine beaches, and the warmth of its people, faced a tragedy that would forever be etched in its history. In just 4 harrowing days, wildfires of an unprecedented scale ravaged the island, leaving behind a trail of devastation that was heart-wrenching to witness. The town of Lahaina, once a bustling hub of life and culture, was reduced to ashes. Over 2,700 structures were obliterated, and the once vibrant streets lay eerily silent. But the most grievous toll was human. At least 106 souls were lost to the flames, each one leaving behind a void that no amount of time or solace could fill. Families were torn apart, dreams were extinguished, and the very fabric of the community was tested. Yet in the face of such overwhelming sorrow, the spirit of the Maui community remained unbroken. The resilience they displayed, the unity they forged in the crucible of tragedy, stands as a testament to the indomitable human spirit. They mourned, they remembered, but they also rebuilt, rising from the ashes with a determination that was awe-inspiring. This horror story is dedicated to those who lost their lives in the Maui fires. It is a homage to their memories and a celebration of the strength and unity of a community that refused to be defeated. And so the story begins. The sun was setting, casting a deep orange hue over Maui. But this wasn't the gentle, picturesque sunset the island was known for. This was a fiery, ominous glow, fueled by the raging wildfires that had consumed large parts of the island in just 4 days. The once thriving town of Lahaina was now a smoky, charred shadow of its former self. Amidst the devastation, Kimo, a local farmer, stood on the edge of his now scorched farmland. His family had owned this land for generations, and the sight of it reduced to ashes brought tears to his eyes. But as he grieved, a nagging thought persisted. The fires, as catastrophic as they were, seemed deliberate. "Kimo," called out a voice. It was Ailani, his childhood friend and a local journalist. She approached him, her face smeared with soot, her eyes filled with a mix of determination and concern. "I've been hearing things," she began, her voice low. "Rumors, whispers among the townsfolk. They say this wasn't just an accident." Kimo looked at her, his grief momentarily replaced by curiosity. "What are you saying?" Ailani hesitated, then took a deep breath. "There's talk that someone started these fires intentionally, to force us, the locals, to sell our land." Kimo's heart raced. He had received offers from developers in the past, looking to buy his land for resorts and luxury villas. He had always refused, but the pressure had been mounting. Ailani continued, "I found evidence. Receipts for large purchases of accelerants, suspicious transactions, and anonymous threats to landowners. And all trails lead to a shadowy consortium with ties to the real estate industry." The weight of the revelation was immense. The loss of life, the destruction, all for greed. As they spoke, an old pickup truck approached them. The driver, an elderly man named Hilo, was known for his deep connections within the community. He had lost his home in the fire and had a story to tell. "My grandson saw them," he began, his voice trembling. "Men with masks, pouring something around the edges of our property. He thought they were firefighters, but when he called out to them, they chased him away." The pieces of the puzzle were coming together, but the full picture was still forming. As night fell, the trio decided to investigate further, to gather more evidence and bring the culprits to light. But as they delved deeper into the mystery, they realized they were not the only ones searching. Someone was watching them, tracking their every move. And as Ailani, Kimo, and Hilo drove away, a pair of sinister eyes followed them from the shadows, the glow of the fires reflecting in them. The trio drove cautiously, the headlights of the pickup truck cutting through the haze. Ailani clutched a folder tightly, filled with the evidence she had gathered. "We need to get this information to someone we can trust," she said, her voice filled with urgency. Hilo nodded. "I have a contact in the police department, Officer Kalea. She's incorruptible." As they made their way to the police station, Kimo's thoughts wandered to the stories he had heard. The U.S. Coast Guard rescuing people who had run into the ocean to escape the flames, the town of Kihei severely damaged, and the brave souls of Lahaina who had lost everything. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on him. Suddenly, the truck's headlights illuminated a figure standing in the middle of the road. Kimo slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching against the asphalt. The figure, a man with a mask obscuring his face, held up a canister, its contents unknown but ominous. Without a word, the masked man threw the canister. A thick, choking gas began to fill the air. Coughing and eyes watering, the trio scrambled out of the truck, seeking fresh air. "We need to split up," Alani yelled, clutching the folder. "They're after this evidence." Hilo, despite his age, sprinted towards a nearby grove, drawing some of the masked man's accomplices away. Ailani and Kimo dashed in the opposite direction, heading towards the heart of Lahaina. As they ran, Kimo's thoughts raced. Who were these people? How far would they go to cover their tracks? Finding a momentary refuge in an alley, Ailani shared more of her findings. There's more than just the consortium involved. Some local officials might be in on this. The scale of this operation, it's bigger than we imagined. The weight of betrayal, the thought that some of their own could be involved, was a bitter pill to swallow. Suddenly, a soft chime broke their concentration. It was Ailani's phone, an unknown number. Hesitantly, she answered. A distorted voice spoke. "You're in over your heads. Leave it alone." The call ended abruptly, leaving Ailani and Kimo in stunned silence. The stakes were higher than they had ever imagined. The heart of Lahaina, once bustling with life, now stood eerily silent, save for the distant crackling of fires. Ailani and Kimo, scared and confused, tried to make sense of the unfolding events. "We need a plan," Kimo whispered, his eyes darting around, alert for any signs of danger. Ailani, ever the journalist, was resolute. "We expose them. We have the evidence. We just need a platform." Kimo thought for a moment. "The local radio station. It's still operational. If we can broadcast your findings, the whole island will know." The duo decided to split up to increase their chances. Ailani would head to the radio station, while Kimo would seek out Officer Kalea, hoping to rally the police force. As Ailani made her way through the dimly lit streets, she recalled stories of heroism amidst the tragedy. The brave firefighters who battled the inferno, the volunteers from World Vision providing relief, and the countless unnamed heroes who had stepped up in the face of adversity. Their stories fueled her determination. Reaching the radio station, she was met with a familiar face, DJ Moana, known for her soulful tunes and deep connection with the Maui community. "Quickly, Ailani, we don't have much time," Moana ushered her in. As Ailani began her broadcast, revealing the conspiracy, the evidence, and the potential involvement of local officials, the island listened in rapt attention. Meanwhile, Kimo met with Officer Kalea, who was equally shocked by the revelations. "We had suspicions," she admitted, "but nothing concrete. This changes everything." Gathering a trusted team, Kalea decided to raid the consortium's local office, hoping to find more evidence. But as they approached, they realized they were expected. The building was heavily guarded, the air thick with tension. With the element of surprise lost, Officer Kalea and Kimo knew they had to tread carefully. But time was of the essence. As Ailani's broadcast echoed throughout Maui, the culprits would be desperate to escape. Using a back entrance, the group made their way inside. The office was a maze of corridors and rooms, each holding secrets of the sinister plot. Suddenly, a voice boomed over the intercom. "You may have exposed us, but you won't leave without paying the price." The building's doors locked automatically, trapping them inside. Panic set in, but Kalea's training kicked into gear. "We need to find the control room," she commanded. As they navigated the building, they stumbled upon a room filled with blueprints, documents, and a wall-sized map of Maui, marked with areas targeted for development. Kimo, scanning the documents, realized the depth of the conspiracy. They planned to rebuild Maui in their vision, turning it into a playground for the elite. The group finally located the control room, but it was guarded. A tense standoff ensued. Just when things seemed bleak, the sound of sirens filled the air. Reinforcements had arrived, alerted by Ailani's broadcast. The consortium's guards were apprehended, and the group was freed. But as they exited the building, they were met with an unexpected sight. The masked man from the road stood at a distance watching them. And as their eyes locked, he whispered something inaudible, turned, and disappeared into the shadows. The sinister plot had been exposed, but the true puppet master remained elusive, leaving behind a trail of questions and a community forever changed. The days following the exposure of the consortium's plans were a whirlwind. The island was abuzz with news reports, investigations, and public outcries. The community, while relieved at the revelation, was also grappling with a sense of betrayal. How could some of their own be involved in such a nefarious plot? Ailani, hailed as a hero for her brave broadcast, continued her journalistic pursuits, digging deeper into the consortium's connections. Kimo, on the other hand, returned to his farm, determined to rebuild and restore the land his family had cherished for generations. One evening, as Ailani was sifting through a pile of documents, she stumbled upon a letter with no return address. The handwriting was elegant, almost artistic. It read, "Dear Ailani, you've done well to uncover the plans of the consortium. But do you truly believe they acted alone? The roots of this plot run deeper than you can fathom. Beware, for you've only scratched the surface. Watch the shadows, for they watch you." Ailani stood in shock. The letter bore no signature, only a symbol at the bottom. A phoenix. Meanwhile, Kimo, while tending to his farm, discovered something unsettling. Buried beneath the scorched earth was a small wooden box. Inside, he found a map and an old photograph of a group of masked individuals standing in front of what looked like an ancient temple. The same phoenix symbol from Ailani's letter was etched onto the temple's entrance. Kimo immediately called Ailani, sharing his discovery. The two realized that the conspiracy might be tied to an ancient secret, one that the island had forgotten or perhaps intentionally buried. Determined to uncover the truth, Ailani and Kimo decided to visit the temple's ruins, located in a remote part of Maui. As they approached, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. The ruins, though in a state of decay, seemed to pulse with an energy, a life force of its own. Inside, they discovered inscriptions that spoke of a prophecy, a great fire that would cleanse the land, making way for a new order. The phoenix symbol appeared repeatedly, signifying rebirth and transformation. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoed through the ruins, "You shouldn't have come here." The duo turned, only to find themselves surrounded by a group of masked individuals, their eyes reflecting the glow of torches. The leader stepped forward, removing their mask. To Ailani and Kimo's shock, it was someone they knew, someone they had trusted. It was Officer Kalia. Kalia smirked. "Welcome to the heart of the Phoenix." And as the torches flickered, casting eerie shadows on the ancient walls, the true depth of the conspiracy began to unfold, leaving Ailani and Kimo on the precipice of a revelation that changed their lives forever.